Another beautiful day in Bentry, cooling off, little breeze, and marble day today. Great to see new faces in the group. Welcome to Lake Wildlife August meeting. First thing we always do is talk about why we're here. What's our mission? Living in Bentry is a privilege that includes responsibility to take care of the natural world around us. Therefore, our Lake and Wildlife works to preserve the natural beauty and wildlife of Bentry by encouraging Bentry and its residents to be good stewards of our natural resource. Our three actions: monitor, educate, and volunteer. Today we'll talk about monitoring, educating, and volunteering, and certainly can use volunteers. So let's move right along because I know you all want to hear Bill Cagle today. Our agenda today is welcome new partners, our board liaison report from Artie, committee reports, treasurer's report, and then Bill Cagle on marble mining. New people here today. Fantastic group, new people, some people we haven't seen before. Now we'll move right directly to our board of directors report from Artie R. Allen, who you know is on our board of directors. Artie?
Good, beautiful morning to everyone. At the July 22nd board meeting, we made some changes to the rules and regs, mostly housekeeping. That'll be posted after the next board meeting when we approve the minutes. But most relevant to everyone here, to every resident, is we are considering the purchase of a We Do lake maintenance equipment, which is affectionately known as a We Do silt sucker. Back in November 2023, Lake and Wildlife hired Aquascape Environmental, and they reported to us that we have 25,736 cubic yards of silt in 3 coves. Yeah, that's a lot of silt. Yeah. So it would cost $1.2 million approximately to get rid of that silt, and that is not going to happen. So we need to spot dredge, and there's this piece of equipment which would cost close to just under $150,000 with all of the attachments that we need. We actually had a demo a few weeks ago. It was very impressive. The way it could suck the silt out. We are seriously considering the purchase of this. And it's not just the purchase price. We've got a place to put the silt. You can't just put the silt on the beach. You have to put it in a bag. And these bags are not cheap. The first purchase of these bags cost $50,000. So, but it would take care of a serious problem that we have. Then we have to store this machine. You can't just leave it out on the beach. So right now we're thinking about, if we do acquire this, to build a building at the old recycle center, and that would be a perfect place for it. So that would provide an enclosure for this equipment. So that's what the board is looking at. Thank you.
Thank you, Artie. That's a good description. Yeah, for those of you that are new, just quickly, the silt is built up for 20 years. The last time the lake was dredged was in 08 and 09, almost 25 years ago. the amount of silt in the 3 bays where the dock is, where you can put in your boat, the other area by the beach, some call Goose Island, and the other one is Mulligan, of course, where it comes into the lake. Those are the 3 areas that amount to that cubic feet that he's talking about. We basically have 7 years, and then 25 years is up, and there will be so much silt in those bays that it'll be terrible. So you won't even be able to put a boat in, won't be able to do anything. So they're coming up with some good ideas already. That's a good one that we do, I've seen, and we'll proceed forward. But it is something that needs to be dealt with. It can't be put off. And 1.2 million is a lot of money, and like I already said, that's going to be pretty tough to squeeze out of a budget. Okay, moving on. Committees. These are various committees of Lake and Wildlife, and on each monthly meeting, we like to give a little update. First of all, our fundraising committee, which of course handles Tamarack Treasures, and the volunteers that are made up of those. I have Teresa Hoppy that wants to speak a little bit about Tamarack Treasures. Teresa?
I know this morning the burning question on everyone's mind is, when is Tamarack Treasures holiday? I knew it. And so we're going to do collections right here, November 3rd through 5th, and then the sale is going to be right here, November 8th and 9th. And of course, there'll be a lot more reminders, and it'll be in the Echo, it'll be in Wildlife Wednesdays, and those of you who are new or visiting, Tamarack Treasures is a fundraiser. It's a fun fundraiser. It's a lot of work, and we have a ton of volunteers that work their butts off. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. We do it twice a year. People in the neighborhood donate new and like new items. This sale is holiday, so Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, anything related to the winter holidays will be selling. We'll have Christmas trees and decorations, and we'll have a bake sale, and anyway, it's going to be wonderful, a lot of fun, always is. So anyhow, we donate stuff, and then people come and buy it. So if you don't want it and it's new and like new, bring it to us right here. Those 3 days, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of November. And then we'll turn around and sell it to the neighbors on the 8th and 9th. So anyway, it's a great fundraising. Then we turn around and do it again in the springtime because we're not that smart. So anyway, well, thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you. Thank you and all the volunteers that make that happen. It is the biggest fundraiser for Lake and Wildlife, and it's held twice a year, as you know, and the holiday one is always huge. A lot of Christmas trees, very beautiful, nice music. Teresa, thank you. Thanks for all you do. Okay, KBTV, this is Andy's area that Andy handles, who's just recovering from a little fall, but he's always getting up from everything. So
we have a fall fundraiser. Fall landscaping, our typical fall landscaping, and that date will go out in the article that will be in Echo magazine next month, which I'm writing this weekend, to solicit more people to help with planting our color plants in our landscape zones and to spread some mulch. That's fun. It is really fun. We sing Christmas carols and all that kind of thing. And then we do our outdoor decorating it'll be the first weekend in November, actually the same day on November 3rd that we're doing, but we do our outdoor Christmas decorations, and we need some help with that in all of our landscaped area zones, and we also need to decorate our new cottage. So be thinking about that, help us out. That's it.
thank you, Andy. Appreciate it. And by the way, Andy was the driving force that got Bill here today. And he just kept pestering. He said, we got to get Bill here. We got to get Bill here. All right. Wildlife. Our Wildlife Committee Chair, Mr. Miguel, would like to talk a little bit.
Bears. Lots of them around, and there are some good reasons for that. One of them may be that they are breeding quite healthily and they're producing more offsprings. The second one is that this is the time of the year in which the moms kick the juveniles, the little males, out of their nest. So they are walking around looking for a new home, a territory of their own. The second thing is that this time of the year also, mamas and daddies are looking for mates. So they are moving around looking for some action. So there, many of them go outside their territory and for obvious reasons. And last but not least, they are approaching the peak of the feeding season where they need to put on some extra weight for winter. So they are eager to look for and find wherever the food may be. So the incidents of people seeing a lot of bears, and they've been a little bit more aggressive, is that they have two main senses: smell and memory. If they ever found any morsel that they liked somewhere, they're going back for it. They're going back to it. So because of that, we need to be extra careful as of what we leave outside that may entice them to come back. And with that, happy bearing season. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you. Very good words, very good information. They are out there, they're all around, we all know. Just be careful and don't leave anything out there that you don't want them to come and eat, because they do not forget. I want to mention something a little bit I talked to Miguel about, and it's the bobcat. And we have bears, we have geese, we have deer, but there is a bobcat. There's a couple of them, and I'm just going to quickly say I call it the monument bobcat. And I know Sherry, and I know Chris, I know you're all familiar up on Big Stump. The bobcats spotted up on Big Stump, a couple of them, and also we found that there's activity up on Monument Road, and of course the exit trail out to Monument from Big Stump up on the top. And a couple hikers heard them. There's a unique squeal and yell that they have that you can't never forget. And up north of the trails, so they did look with binoculars, they found their den. So they have a den, and they're up there, like I say, way up on Monument, between Monument down into the valley about maybe 100 yards. So they're not actually in Bentry, but they're up at the top. And like bears, in the spring they have young. They're looking for food. The moms are out looking around. That's actually a picture of the one up on Big Stump in Richard and Vera's yard. So it's there. It's a beautiful animal. Yeah, big kitty. Big cat. And they normally like rabbits and squirrels. They usually don't go to houses. They're pretty quiet. And you got to chase them to disturb them. So it should be fine. But I just want to mention, it is up there. We found the den, and away we go. Lake and streams, I'm just going to mention that in regard to lake and streams, Huff is not here today, but the streams are doing fine. We did our monthly analysis of the streams. Lake and Wildlife does chemical analysis of the 5 streams coming into the lake and the lake. We test for pH, dissolved oxygen, nitrates, phosphates, alkalinity, and turbidity. And everything is in a normal range. It's fine. And at this time of year, your temperatures are higher, so your DO ratings are going to be up a little bit. But the alkalinity was very strong, which means it's fighting. It's going against the organics. The water levels are low, but they're okay. And also, we do tests this month. And Darrow was there to help, as well as Virginia and Jay Pate. Virginia J. Pate, stand up. These are newcomers that joined us for the first time. And they were out looking at bugs in the water with us this week in this heat, and I thank them for coming. I really appreciate it. Mackerels were fine, good to fare in all the streams this time of year. Mackerels are just little tiny baby mayflies, tadpoles, fish, all kinds of, little creatures that you would find. And the amount and the quantity were fine. We're not to worry, but this is the toughest time of the year. As far as the beach goes, as you know, Lake and Wildlife, along with BTCI, goes out and puts pellets around the beach area, so that we don't have leeches and other little critters that come into the beach. And we do that in May, June, July, August, and that's been done this year, and there's been no complaints. Dredging, that's been covered. So let's move on. Habitat conservation. Dara will give a quick report today.
Yes, hi. Relative to habitat conservation, most of you may think about it as being related to plants and a lot of native plants, and it is, but it is not for the plant's sake so much as it is for the wildlife that we live with here in Bent Tree. And habitat conservation has sort of two prongs. One is, how do we educate people to do no harm to the wildlife? And not that people would specifically intentionally do harm to the wildlife, but sometimes we bring practices with us maybe that we grew up with or that were fine in a city environment that just have bigger, wider implications when you live in the forest. So we try to educate people about how to do no harm to the wildlife around them. And then also how to preserve and create habitat that the wildlife need. And you have to think about that. I mean, that is mostly plants. That is what wildlife eat for the most part. Something they eat plants, or they eat something that eats plants, right? Just like us. So it's about how to create that environment and maintain it and preserve it. And there's a QR code, new a web environment for you to explore this, and the focus for habitat conservation. You can scan that QR code and take a look at what we are focused on. As far as upcoming stuff, in the fall, you'll be seeing a couple of workshops that'll be scheduled. We're going to focus not just on work days, but training days in 3 areas. One is invasive plant removal. So there will be 1 day of training for invasive plant removal that you can take that information back to your own property or to, any situation where there is stiltgrass, kudzu, Chinese bush clover, privet, anything that degrades our natural environment and keeps the plants that need to be out there from being successful out there. And then we'll have a work day as well, but they'll be separated so that if you just want to learn about how to do this on your own property, you will have that opportunity. And then you'll have the opportunity also to come back and contribute to the common areas of Bent Tree and helping to do it. Like, we've got a pretty sizable kudzu infestation starting in a couple different places around the community, and we need to get on that because we do not want Bent Tree to look like Cove Road going into Jasper, right? I mean, we will also be doing the same for our hemlock treatments. Every 5 years, Lake and Wildlife leads an effort to treat the hemlocks across Bent Tree so that they do not succumb to the woolly adelgid, which is a invasive mite that will kill the hemlock trees. And so we'll have 1 day of learning with partnering with Save Georgia Hemlocks on how to do that treatment, and another day where we actually go out and treat. There's about 500 hemlocks, way less than in Big Canoe. I probably wouldn't undertake this effort in Big Canoe. They've got way more on that side of the mountain, but we've got about 500 hemlock trees, and we do this on private property with owner's permission and on common property, and accept donations for that work. And then we'll be seeding a lot of natural areas that we want to encourage more native plants. The seeding, instead of planting plants, is a way to increase the volume and control the cost. And when things come up that way, the deer tend to not just completely browse it. I mean, come on, when we serve up nursery plants in a bed of mulch, it's gone, right? I mean, and that's an expensive endeavor that someone has fertilized and watered, and it's just, even if they supposedly won't eat it, if it's a new nursery plant, they're going to eat it. So we do the seeding. So anyway, that is it. Don't forget to scan the new QR codes on your way out. Just take a picture of it. It'll take you to the website. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dara. Dara's involved in so much, and I appreciate you keeping it short. A lot of good things happening here. Seminars, workshops, communications. Miguel is actually handling our communications. I'm just going to run quickly through it if it's okay, Miguel. He does the Wednesday news and the Friday news that you see. The Wildlife Wednesday that comes out to everybody, that's Miguel. Friday, he contributes to the Friday news also for Lake and Wildlife. And then, of course, the Echo. And he did a great job in the Echo article this month in August on the bears and their habitat and what it means to us and how to live with them and how to be careful. I think, Miguel, you do a great job. Thank you very much. And there'll be more coming as we work together in this board initiative that Buddy initiated that is called Living with Wildlife, and Living with Wildlife in Bentry. We're going to be moving that along and raising the bar so that people can understand and, how do we live with them and not kill them. Project maintenance, I just want to mention quickly, trail signs are up, and all the trail signs that were to be renewed, which is $400 for 3 years, have been renewed, and 3 new people also picked up signs. So we're moving along on that. On the roads, in conjunction with Mike Corey and VTCI, on all the main roads, like here's Tamarack and Denny Ridge, there's now signs that point to where the trails are. There's a lot of people here and a lot of visitors that say, I can't find it. Where is this thing? And you go, oh, it's up on Chestnut Cove. And, we had some this week when we were doing stream monitoring, and they were visitors. They were here for a wedding, nice young couples, and they were up on trails, and they had their little babies in there, and they were trying to find out where all these trails were. This, they said, helped them a lot. So they're up there. And that's also a Lake and Wildlife project. Not so fast. Okay, the special events. I'm just going to mention that Luann is still handling that we've had finally a couple people interested in handling Luann's job, and they're talking to us, and one in particular is very interested, and so we're moving along forward in that. Trails, Mason's out of town this week. He's having to take his kids and grandkids back home after camp. Memorial Trail, of course, is still closed after the first 100 yards because of the landowner that doesn't want anybody trespassing on their property. And that is being worked on somehow to see if we can do a little land swap with them so that we can continue to have that trail. More to come on that. I want to talk about volunteers. Our volunteer chairman is Megan. Megan, you do a great job. Handles all the input of the new people, membership, volunteers, and volunteer hours, which are very important. This group contributes a lot of hours volunteering and doing various things. And people say, oh, volunteering, yeah, okay, all right, you go out and you work on this. Well, what does that mean? Well, this is just one piece of it, and I want to go over that very quickly. It's called the Wildcat Community, which is what we're a part of, which is part of Firewise, and that allows us to save money, also save money on insurance and other things. And I think it's very important to understand that in order to get that saving, in order to do that, they have to contribute so many hours of doing things to help make sure this community is fire-wise and it doesn't create more issues for fires. So, Megan tracks all the hours by category, by committee, by group. And then once a year, we present those not only to the board, but also to Mike Corey, who's in charge of this. Year to date, last week, we contributed 274 hours. That's $9,532 worth of labor that we did as volunteers, members of the Lake and Wildlife Group. The goal is 30,000. Michael Corey said, we're going to blow that away. We'll make that with no problem. Now, what does it mean? What do we do? What are the things that we do? Remove dead trees, brush, etc. from the trails. Every week there's brush on the trails. We had 2 trees down on trails. Remove them. Remove invasive plants. Dara has been in charge of that for so long, and stiltgrass and other things. All the time that we put in to do that on common properties, etc. All those hours are volunteer hours that help bend trees, save money. Thinning out of trees under the power line. We have a power line group that works under the power lines and takes out all this low shrubs and things so that they don't grow up and so that they don't have to spray herbicides. And we don't have to pay for the company to come spray herbicides. We do that as volunteer work. I know there's many more hours on that than the 30 or 40 that Jim's already got. Wood chips and mulch on trails. We put those out on our trails. That's not flammable, like something that would be flammable they put out there, some kind of plastic or whatever. So, just in quick, L&W volunteering helps save Bentry money. And last year, I will just tell you that there was almost 2,000 hours total that Lake and Wildlife volunteers put in, and that saved Bentry almost $37,000. So, we volunteer, that is why. Financial summary. Denise is our treasurer. Thanks.
So far, year to date, we're tracking our revenue is tracking very closely to our expenditures. since our last meeting through June and July, it's been relatively quiet, but we have spent money towards creating the community gardens, and then we've also collected revenues from those that are paying the rent for those community gardens. So there's 10 beds that were created over by the quarry, and they're doing very well. It's beautiful and it's exciting, and there's the idea or hopes that there could be more. And then also, as mentioned, the sign program. So we're doing very well, and there's several more projects that have not been implemented that will be later in the year. So thank you for your time, your donations, and we look forward to seeing you at some of the other activities.
Thanks, Denise. Denise does a great job on our financials. Upcoming meeting in September, we're going to have Firewise, speaking of Firewise and safety, by Michael Corey. In October of fall, Miguel is going to talk about fall and the volunteer fair to get some volunteers. November's habitat and erosion control. In December, of course, will be the annual report to the group by Jim Pryor. Jim comes every year in December and gives an annual report of what BTCI is doing, and that's something you really want to come and see and hear. Thank you for coming. That's our website. There's our email. Feel free to email anytime if you have questions or want to help or join. I'm going to move right along quick so Bill can get up here. Andy, I've taken 3 minutes more than I should have.
Over 5 minutes.
Does that mean I'm fighting?
Well, okay. The fever broke last night. I just want to tell everybody, the fever. I went to bed and it was 88 degrees. I woke up this morning, it was 70 degrees. So we might have a little bit of fall coming in. The history of Georgia Marble's industry is much more complicated than the complicated tale that meets the eye. It begins with the construction of the old federal road through Cherokee land. This led to the removal of the tribes of Native Americans from this area. Bill Cagle's unique connection to the area and the marble history that has formed in our immediate area makes him an expert in all things Georgia marble. If you have not been to the Marble Festival on the first weekend in October, you've got to go. And you've got to take one of Bill's tours. You jump on a school bus. I think it's $20 a head. You jump on a school bus and they ride you around the marble area. And you will see 3 to 4 marble quarries that are in business. And you will learn everything there is to learn. And today, you're going to hopefully purchase one of his books. $20, cash, Confederate money.
Credit card.
Okay, Confederate money. And yeah, okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up a warm, bantry welcome to Bill Cagle.